is my vocal journal. And I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're listening to me today. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're going to listen to these. This is where I express myself, express my thoughts, and just literally talk about things I feel like talking about. And today I want to talk about something very controversial. I want to talk about something very, very controversial. And first of all, disclaimer, I'm not in any way going to bash anybody because my intention is not to bash anybody. Secondly, I don't know better than anybody. I'm also a human. I'm not perfect. And it's not like I know everything that is there to know. I'm not like I don't know everything. I'm only just going to say what's on my mind. I'm just going to share my thoughts. Because this morning I was dressing my baby up, and then while I was dressing her up, there was a message playing in the background. So I was dressing her up and listening to a message, and somehow my mind wandered around, wandered about, and eventually I started thinking. And this is me talking about the interview that um, Peter Obi, Mr. Peter Obi did. First of all, I didn't listen to the interview. I did not watch the full interview, and even the short snippet on that was trending online, I also did not watch it. So I don't know details of that interview. I only know, or I only read people's thoughts about the interview. So I'm not going to act like I know so much, but I'm going to use it as a yardstick for what I'm going to talk about today. Secondly, there've been a lot of this is my mind also thinking about a lot of things. There's also been a lot of controversy online as to many popular pastors being prosperity preachers. And this is coming from people in the body of Christ having so much to say about some preachers being prosperity preachers. So I'm going to use these two scenario, these two instances as yardstick to what I want to talk about. And what I want to talk about, I was just thinking to myself, there's really a thin line between being a preacher of the gospel and being called a motivational or a prosperity preacher. First of all, let me first of all say this. People that are not Christians or aren't even interested in Christianity have so much to say about Christianity. Like the audacity. You are not a Christian. You are not even interested. Especially those ones that those self-acclaimed what are they even called? Those ones that don't even want to do and don't want to have anything to do with religion. Like the audacity to always have something to say about Christianity. You are not a Christian, but you have so much to say. Please sit it out, because seriously, we don't need your opinion. The standard has always been Christ. The standard for all Christians has always been Christ. The Bible is like our guide. So if we do things as regards the Bible, or following the Bible, or following Christ, we don't need your say. We don't even need to look at you to know what you have to think. And now me saying this or me talking about this topic today is not because of people like you. Because in as much as we want to win you for Christ, right now you don't have a say as regards anything. I'm being too serious, but seriously, when I think about people having too much to say about the body of Christ, it annoys me, because you say you are not interested, but why do you have so much to say? Why do you have to analyze pastors? You know the one that is preaching well, you know the one that is not preaching well, you know the one that is talking about prosperity, you know that is the one that is not talking about what is your business? Like, what is your business? Oh, they've even labeled some issues about Nigeria. They've labeled it that, Nigeria has a lot of churches, like Nigerian churches have a lot of schools, the country is not doing well. Like, are the pastors in authority? Are they the president? Are they the governors and all of those? Why is everybody just blaming the church for everything that is happening? Okay, if the church has so much influence, why don't people just let the pastors be the rulers, be the president, the vice, and every other thing, and let them, that power that they have in their church, let them use it and make Nigeria better? No, you will not agree. But somehow the problem of Nigeria is coming from the church. Okay, so what was I thinking about? Okay, so for a long time, for a while, even before Peter Obi's interview came out, for a long time, there's, my husband and I will always reference back to what Apostle Joshua Selman used to say. Body of Christ. Now, wow. So whenever there is a controversy or whatever on social media as regards the Christianity, I and my partner will just looking at it, reading about it, and then we'll just be like, wow, now, wow, body of Christ, now, wow. So for a long time, there's always been this, oh, this apostle preaches about prosperity. Oh, this one is a motivational speaker. Oh, this one. And me, for one, I actually think that there should be a balance. It should be more of bringing more souls to Christ. But first of all, let me talk about this one is a motivational speaker. If you want to be a motivational speaker, be a motivational speaker. If you want to be a marriage counselor, be a marriage counselor. You're a pastor, preach about Christ. Preach about Christ alone. Preach about Christ alone. And there's been so much of those controversy online. And I don't know if you're on Twitter and active on X and active on Christian X. There are in quotes Christian influencers, if I would call them that. Christian influencers that have so much to say about preachers. They have so much to say about religion. They have so much to say about different this religion, these people, this doctrine, these people are not preaching the right doctrine. Those influencers here, one day I'm going to come for them. It's not like I have the balls to do that. Yeah, so those ones that have so much to say, they've labeled almost all the preachers in Nigeria as prosperity preachers. But then now this P2B issue came up, and now they need those prosperity preachers to come through. What am I trying to say? So it's, in essence, P2B said, from what I read, not from what I heard from him, that he's going to turn those night videos to night shifts so that people will be more productive, that the church is excelling more than any other enterprise. So people that he's going to turn night videos. So there are these people that some people are like, yes, it's true. Christians spend their whole time in church. Christians spend their whole time in church. All they do is church. That there is nothing productive they do. They don't do anything productive with their time. Their time is spent in church for night videos every day, which I doubt there's any church that does night video Mondays to Sundays, Sundays to Sundays. I don't think there's any church that does that. If any church is doing that, it's maybe for a specific time, maybe a program or a purpose. But saying that a church does night vigil from 1st January to 31st December, I don't believe that. So they're like, oh, Christians are always spending their time in church. That a Christian would rather go to church than go to work. That a Christian would rather go to church than start up a business. Like, they spend their whole time in church. And then I saw some people bringing up snippets of preachings from this, in quotes, prosperity preachers, urging Christians to be diligent in their work, to spend their time to upgrade themselves, to spend their time learn more, to be. I see people bringing up snippets from there that the church doesn't only make people come to church, the church also encourages people to do better. And I'm like, oh, this is interesting. So a time will come, or a time has come, where these, in quotes, prosperity preachers are the ones rescuing the body of Christ from dragging of from people that don't even go to church. It's seriously, when it happened, or when it was happening, I didn't think deep about it. But today it just struck me that, okay, while they were talking about how Christians are unproductive and all of that, the snippets of videos or the preaching that they brought us were from, in quotes, these prosperity preachers that the body of Christ or the Christian influencers has looked down or condemned because they think they are prosperity preachers, they are motivational preachers. Is it not funny? Is it not funny? Because I'm listening to a message and they're talking about Christ, and if you think, or if you look at Christ, Christ did his work on earth, and Christ, in fact, Christ is a perfect example for all Christians to follow, because there was no point that Christ was idle, or there was no time that Christ was depending on anybody to sustain him or anything. Like, Christ was actually very hardworking in all aspects, in his spiritual life, in his physical life. He was a social person. He was just everywhere doing good. So Christ is like a perfect example. And if there is a balance between preaching about Christ, preaching about the love of Christ, and telling people to emulate Christ, be hardworking, be productive, have value, I don't see any problem with it. Like, I actually don't see any problem with it. In fact, just like I said, I'm not coming here to judge or give any advice, because I'm not a pastor. I'm not a pastor's wife. I'm not a preacher. Well, yeah, I'm not a preacher. I'm just a follower of Christ. So I'm only just going to say my thoughts, because it's actually very funny. I saw videos of different men of God. I'm not going to name any person. I'm not going to call any name. I saw videos where different men of God were admonishing their members to do this, to do that, to do this, to do that, in order to help them be productive, in order to help them in life and all of those things. And I can remember once in a while, a time before, they called those men of God either prosperity preachers, or they called them motivational preachers, and they condemned them because they felt like they were not doing, or they were not preaching Christ. They were not preaching Christ to their followers. They were just motivating their followers to be industrious, to have value. And it's not funny. It's very funny. But that is why whenever you see yourself in a position to drag, in quotes, any man of God, think before you do that. Especially if you're not a follower of that man of God. Because whatever you see online is just 1-2 minutes video. It might even be coming from a 2 hours preaching, which you don't even know what that preaching is talking about. Maybe the man of God decided to make a reference, and someone picks out that 2 minutes video and put it up on social media, and then everybody start calling out that pastor or calling him a motivational speaker. Or even if the whole preaching was even about motivation, you have never listened to this preacher. You don't even know half of what his preaching is all about. Maybe that day he was led to motivate his followers because that was what God laid on his heart that day. But because you saw that, you've labeled him a prosperity preacher, you've labeled him, he's a fake prophet, and the likes of that. So this is me expressing what I felt or what I was thinking about today, and me saying, please go easy on men of God. In fact, you don't even have the right to judge any man of God. If a man of God is a prosperity preacher, is a false prophet, it is not in your place. If you are not comfortable with what he's preaching, instead of going to bash him or calling him a man of God, you can actually just say what you feel on what you think on that topic without calling out anybody, so that you help the body of Christ hear more soul winning words, if there's anything like that. Yeah, so that is all I have to say for today. Please, as a Christian, your priority is Christ. In fact, your priority is making heaven at the end. That's your priority, to love God, to serve him, to love others as Christ has instructed. And also, in doing that, you are also an ambassador here on earth. You're an ambassador of Christ here on earth. And if your life is not even showing anything that anybody can emulate, they will not come to Christ. Imagine you being a Christian, and there is not, when someone looks at you, all they see is somebody they don't want to be. They wouldn't want to know your God. But I'm not even saying you need to have the whole money in the world, which is not bad. In fact, as a Christian, you just need to be able to sustain yourself, sustain your family, and all of that, because greed is another thing. It's a sin. But then, if someone looks at your life, look at the way you're dressed, look at the way you talk, look at the way you carry yourself. When you speak, the person knows that this person is speaking words of wisdom. Like, your life alone is is a form of evangelism. So, in as much as we are Christians, we should try to be ambassador of Christ here on earth, so that when people see us, when they see us and the kind of life we live, they would want to come. They'll be want to come and ask, babe, guy, you dey shine, oh, you're looking good. What is the secret? And then you tell them this. In fact, when Christ was on earth, he did this. You win them to Christ gradually, you're winning so with your life. But when you spend your whole day in church, you don't have anything, you don't read books, you don't equip yourself, you are not doing anything whatsoever with your life. Some people will look at you like, I'm not interested. I'm not going to do. I won't join you, because there's nothing in your life that is worth copying at all. So please, you should always strive for excellence in all you do. As a Christian, it's very important. It is actually very important to strive for excellence. And also, don't forget your walk with Christ. Every day of your life, set a goal to get closer to God, to develop yourself, and to be a better version of yourself all days of your life. So until next time, this is my vocal journal, and I'm glad that you listened to me today. Bye.